Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your trust source for everything Detroit Lions. The 17th pick in the draft is ours, locked and loaded. And while everyone's debating offensive weapons and defensive playmakers, there's one name sitting at that sweet spot in the draft that changed the entire trajectory of our defensive identity for the next decade. I'm about to break down why this particular prospect isn't just a good fit for Detroit. He might be the only fit that makes complete sense when you consider what we've been through these past seasons. Stay with me, because by the end of this breakdown, you'll understand exactly why this decision could define our championship window. Before we dive deep, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because Lions News Fan Report is your direct connection to all the breaking news, insider analysis, and strategic breakdowns on our beloved Lion. This is where you get the information delivered with the passion and knowledge that only true Lion fans can provide. Let me take you back through something that's been haunting us when it matters most. 2 consecutive seasons, 2 playoff runs, and in both, our secondary got absolutely decimated by injuries at the worst possible time. We've watched Terry and Arnold develop into a solid corner. We've got DJ Reed under contract, bringing veteran presence. But here's the uncomfortable truth that every Lions fan needs to confront. Having 2 healthy corners isn't enough when history keeps repeating it. When the games get physical, when the weather turns cold, playoff football arrives with its intensity cranked to maximum, our defensive backs going down. That's not bad luck anymore. That's a pattern that demands a strategic response. Dan Campbell has built this team on a foundation of physical, aggressive football. We run it down opponents' throats, play with an edge that intimidates. But defense wins championships, and our defensive backfield needs reinforcements that can match while also having the coverage skill to lock down elite receivers. This is where the draft becomes absolutely critical, and this is where the name I'm building toward changes everything we think we know about our defense future. The draft class 2026 is deep, genuinely deep, in a way that gives teams picking in the middle of the first round legitimate impact players. But depth means nothing if you don't identify fit. The player whose skill set perfectly aligns with your system, whose mentality matches coaching, whose development trajectory suggests he's only scratching the surface of his potential. I've been studying film, talking to scouts, analyzing combine metrics, and one prospect rising to top of my board for the Lions. Not because he's the flashiest name, not because he's going to generate the most social media hype, but because when you overlay his abilities onto what we need, onto what Dan Campbell demands from his defensive, onto what would help us overcome those injury night every perfect. Let's talk about cornerback play in the modern NFL moment, because context matters. You need corners who can mirror routes, who can flip their hips, stay in phase with receivers running at full speed. You need corners willing to come up and support the run game, who won't shy away from contact even when a running back is barreling toward them. You need corners with the football IQ to recognize route concepts pre-snap, to understand what offenses are trying to exploit, to make adjustments on the fly. And ideally, you want corners who come from elite programs where they've been coached by the best competition week after week, where winning is embedded in their DNA. Clemson University. The name alone carries weight in NFL scouting circles. Dabo Swinney has built a program that consistently produces NFL-ready talent, particularly in the defensive backfield. The Tigers' defensive scheme prepares players for the complexity of professional football. The competition level in the ACC, combined with their playoff appearance, means these guys have played in big game, felt the pressure, and performed when everything was on the line. And right now, there's a Clemson cornerback who embodies everything the Lions need, who could be sitting there when we're on the clock at pick 17, who represents the kind of value that championship teams don't pass up. Avion Terrell. Let me say that name again because it needs to resonate. Every Lions fan watching this video. Avion Terrell, the younger brother of Atlanta Falcons cornerback A.J. Terrell, who's established himself as one of the premier cover corners in the NFL. We're talking about a bloodline of elite defensive back play, a family tree that produces lockdown corners, a genetic foundation combined with elite coaching that creates exactly the kind of player who can step into our secondary and contribute immediately. Standing at 5'11" and 180 pounds, Terrell doesn't have the prototypical size some scouts assess, but let me tell you why that doesn't matter, why that might actually be an advantage in our. The ability to mirror routes doesn't come from height, hip fluidity, footwork, and Terrell possesses all three at an elite level. His tape shows a cornerback who can flip his hips and stay in phase, with receivers running every root in the tree. He doesn't get caught flat-footed. He doesn't panic when receivers try to shake him with double move. He stays disciplined, trusts technique, and makes plays on the ball when opportunity presents. But here's what really separates Terrell from other corners in this draft class, and here's why he's the perfect fit for Dan Campbell's defense. His willingness to attack. This isn't a corner who's content to play soft coverage and avoid contact. This is a corner who comes downhill on run play, who isn't afraid to stick a face tackle, who plays with the kind of edge that Campbell demands from every player wearing Honolulu blue. When you watch Terrell's film against the run, you see a cornerback sets edge who forces runners back inside to the help, who finishes tackle with authority. That's the mentality we need in secondary. The Clemson system prepared him for exactly what we do in Detroit. He's press coverage, off coverage, zone scheme, and man concept. He's been asked to do everything a modern cornerback needs to do, and he's done it against top competition. The versatility alone makes him valuable, but when you combine that with his aggressive playing style, his football intelligence, and development trajectory, you're looking at a corner who could start from day one and immediately upgrade our defensive backfield. Now, I know some of you are already thinking about size question. Is a 5'11", 180 cornerback going to hold up over a full NFL season, especially in Dan Campbell's physical system? It's a legitimate concern, and I'm not going to dismiss it. Durability questions exist with smaller corners, especially when you're asking them to play physical line of scrimmage and support the run game consist. But let me offer some perspective here. The NFL has plenty of successful corners in that size range who've had long, productive careers. Technique, leverage, and intelligence matter more than pure size at the cornerback position, and Terrell has demonstrated all three throughout his college career. More importantly, consider the alternative. We could target a bigger, more physically imposing corner and potentially sacrifice coverage ability. We could go with a safer pick who doesn't have Terrell's upside, or we could address other positions entirely and hope our injury luck improves in the secondary. None of those options solve the fundamental problem we've had years running. Terrell represents the best combination skill set, scheme fit, and availability at pick 17. He's the corner who can help us finally break the injury curse by giving us legitimate depth and competition in the defensive backfield. Let's talk about what adding Terrell would mean for our defensive infrastructure. You'd have Terrion Arnold continuing his development as a young, talented corner with massive ups. You'd have DJ Reed bringing veteran leadership and reliability. And you'd add Avion Terrell as another starting caliber corner who can rotate in, step up when injuries inevitably occur, who can push everyone in that room to be better through competition. Suddenly, our secondary isn't a weakness anymore. Strength, a unit, depth, talent that can match up against explosive passing attacks we see in the NFC North and throughout the NFC playoff. Think about what that means for our defense as a whole. Our defensive line is already dominant. We've got Aiden Hutchinson terrorizing quarterback. We've got interior pressure that collapses, but all that pressure means nothing. Quarterbacks can find open receivers because our corners can't cover. Adding Terrell allows our pass rush to be even more effective because quarterbacks hold the ball longer. It creates a synergy where every level of the defense elevates the other. That's how championship defenses are built. The draft position at 17 puts us in an interesting spot. We're not picking high enough to get the guaranteed blue chip prospects at the top of the board, but we're not picking late enough where we're scraping for value. We're in that sweet spot where elite players can still be available if the board breaks right. And based on current projections, based on the needs teams picking ahead of us, there's a legitimate chance that Avion Terrell could be sitting there when our name gets called. If we're in that war room and Terrell is available, I genuinely cannot find a reasonable argument against taking. The fit is too perfect. The need is too obvious. The potential is too high. Some fans might want to see us go after offensive weapons, especially after losing Ben Johnson as our play caller. I understand that perspective. But here's the reality. Our offense still has Jared Goff playing at a high level. We've got playmakers, receiver, and tight end, and we can address offensive needs in later rounds or through free agent. Defense wins championships. Championship defenses have elite secondary play. That's not negotiable in today's NFL, where every team has a quarterback who can throw for 300 yards if you give them time and space. Avion Terrell represents more than just a draft. He represents a philosophical commitment to fixing the problems that have haunted us when it mattered most. He represents organizational recognition that we can't keep rolling the dice with injury luck in our secondary. He represents the kind of smart, strategic drafting that separates contenders from pretenders. And honestly, He represents hope that we're finally building a defense and hold up through an entire playoff run without being decimated by injury at the cornerback position. The Terrell family connection adds another layer to this story. Having a brother already succeeding at a high level in the NFL provides a blueprint for success. A.J. Terrell has shown what the family genetics and work ethic can produce at the profession. Avion gets to learn from to see what it takes to understand the dedication required to sustain X in this league. That's invaluable for a young player entering the NFL. He's not coming in blind. He's coming in with a roadmap for success already laid out by his older brother. So here's where we are. The Lions hold the 17th overall pick. Avion Terrell is a Clemson cornerback who perfectly fits our scheme, our mentality, and our needs. He could legitimately be available when we're on the clock. And if the board falls that way, we're looking at a decision that could define our defensive future for years to come. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't draft hype. This is legitimate analysis based on film study, scheme fit, and organizational need. I want to hear from you right now. Do you think Avion Terrell should be our target at pick 17? Are you comfortable with the size questions, or do you think we should prioritize a bigger, more physical corner? Rather see us go in a completely different direction with that pick? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I genuinely want to know how Lions fans are thinking about draft or defensive needs moving forward. As we get closer to draft day, I'm going to be breaking down more prospects, analyzing more scenarios, and bringing you the insider information you need to understand every decision this organization makes. If you want to stay connected, if you want to be part of the conversation, then you need to do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button so more Lions fans can see this analysis. Second, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report if you haven't already. And third, hit that notification bell so you never miss an update when breaking news drops. The future of our defense could be decided at pick 17. Avion Terrell could be the answer we've been searching for, and I'll be here every step of the way, bringing you the analysis and insight that help you understand what's really happened. Beloved Detroit, let's build something special together. One pride.